How do's, welcome back to the channel. So this is the second part of the video I made on Tuesday the 3rd of September 2024, and as I mentioned previously, it was probably going to have a little bit more of a depressing slant to it. So I mentioned earlier politics. If people aren't aware, the state of the UK at the moment, it's quite dire, or should I mention dour. People aren't happy with the promises made by the current government. Labour managed to get into power. They didn't have a massive vote. I think on the news channels they mentioned that the Labour government that has got into power had something just over 20% of the votes, so it wasn't great. There wasn't a big turnout because people were so annoyed by what the Conservatives have done to the country over the past 14 years. Things have just gotten worse and worse and worse with regards to services, etc. And yeah, so now the Labour government, after promising that they wouldn't hit us with any tax raises or additional taxes, etc., they seem to have gone back on their word. Now I keep seeing news reels or news highlights on YouTube of all these promises that they made before they were elected into power, and now all the the contradictions that they mention these days now that they are in power. So yeah, it seems like they're out to get the poor pensioners. We're talking about winter fuel allowance here in the UK. The pensioners were allowed I don't know the actual figure because I'm not a pensioner yet, but they were allowed a certain sum of money just to help them pay the gas bill for the heating over the winter periods. Now that was something that was actually brought in by Labour, so now for the actual Labour government to take that away again, it's a bit of a slap in the face. People weren't happy with the previous Conservative governments, and so they didn't vote for the Conservatives. I didn't vote for the Conservatives. I've been Conservative all my life. I've always voted for them, but this time I thought, no, I'd stick it to them, so I didn't vote for the Conservatives. But as somebody rightly pointed out on one of these channels, they said that the current Conservative party, political party, and the Labour Party, they are two cheeks on the same arse. So I like that comment, so I thought I'd use that. Bloody brilliant. But they have, their ideas have converged into a single point, and I don't think it really matters which of the two main parties here in the country you select. They're both very, very similar these days. In the old days, many, many moons ago, we're talking 20 years plus, so the parties had, vastly different ideas. Anyway, so yeah, coming back to the dire situation here in the UK, nobody seems to be happy with the current government in place. They just talk about tax, so tax reforms, etc., taxes on pensions, withdrawing the winter fuel allowance for the pensioners. Also, what's been happening in the background as well with our HMRC, His Majesty's Revenue Collection Service, which is the tax man really, like the IRS in the States, is that there's been a big push to close any tax loopholes. And I'm a contractor. For years I've worked outside of IR35 as a contractor, running my own small company and providing mechanical consultancy services for various large construction projects. So now what's happening in our industry is they're trying to close that. They want everybody to either become staff or go PAYE, so that you're taxed at source, so you can no longer operate as a small business. So if you've got different people within your small company depending on you, that's no longer allowed. And all it is just to try and grab more tax, but right from the source. That's how I see it. So yeah, a lot of people in my industry are upset by that, and all these large companies, corporations that do offer work for contractors, they're all too scared to get on the wrong side of HMRC because it could come down to a £250,000 fine if they do if HMRC deems you to be working inside IR35, i.e. working as an employee as opposed to working as your own business. Yeah, so I've gone through this whole process now. I'm between contracts at the moment. I've been out of work now for 5 weeks. This is my 5th week, and I thought I'd go from one contract. So the one agent that I was working for, or consultant I should say, they decided that they were no longer going to be operating and taking people on, or taking companies on as outside IR35. We're all going to be inside IR35, either umbrella company or PAYE. So yeah, when my contract ended, I thought I'd have to go to another agency and my contract would start, let's just say if I left on Friday, I thought it would start on Monday. Not so. It's now been 5 weeks and we're still no closer, and I've just received a phone call today saying that no, neither the client, which is the large corporation that I offer my consultancy services to, neither the client nor the agency is now prepared to retain me as my own small business. So yeah, I think my hand's been forced. I've now been forced to work as an employee, even though I've been on the government's website. It's called CEST tool, CEST, and that's to determine whether you operate as a small business or if you work as an employee. So I've done the check myself, and it came back as outside IR35. I went through the agency or consultant, and they had a look, and there was a panel of 3 of them. So 2 of them worked for the consultant, and 1 of them worked for the agency that was going to pay me. And we went through all the questions one by one, and they did it as as the person offering the contract. And even then, it still came back as outside IR35, and we thought, oh, this is going to be easy. Then we'll just go to our client, offer my consultancy services, and jobs are good, and the contract should come in. How wrong we were. Anyway, so we left that with the client. I then went on holiday. I went and saw my family in South Africa, had a great holiday, came back, and nothing. And now 5 weeks later, I got a call today saying, uh-oh, there's an issue here. Yeah, you're no longer going to operate outside IR35 as a contractor. You're now going to be working as an employee or umbrella inside IR35. So yeah, that's where we are. But even if I do that, I spoke to different agents, it's still going to be, they say it could take up to 2 months before I get an income again. So yeah, I've been right royally shafted, and it wasn't by the client that I was offering my mechanical consultancy services to. It was actually by one of the agents that shafted me. Gave us very little notice, also gave the client very little notice in a mega project, or partway through a mega project, and it's just been horrendous. Yeah, we're still no further. So yeah, for 5 weeks I've not been there able to help him along with the project, and everything's just turned into a bit of a yeah, can you say it? Shite show. Right, so come on, dude. Anyway, so there's my little rant, and making the most of the warm weather. I thought I'd get out. It's just unfortunately it's wrong time of year, wrong time of day I should say, wrong time of day. Kids have been let out of school. Oh yeah, nice afternoon, 4 o'clock here in the UK, Macclesfield. So anyway, we'll see you in the next video. Yeah, please click like and subscribe. Let's get those numbers up to 400, and we'll see you soon. Cheers, bye for now.